They look normal, but they're watching, calculating, ready to strike, not with fists, not with weapons, but with the one thing that can leave you defenseless, your own mind. You'd never suspect them, a friend, a colleague, a lover, ordinary on the surface, until you realize you've told them too much, trusted them too quickly. And now your secrets, your triggers, your vulnerabilities are ammunition in their hands. So here's the chilling question. What if there's one habit that turns ordinary people into predators of the mind? A single practice that transforms harmless curiosity into a weapon of psychological control. Today we'll reveal that habit and show you how to recognize it before it's used against you. Because this habit can either make you powerful or leave you prey. It's how con artists build trust, how master manipulators shape your choices, how people you'd never suspect can slowly steal your freedom without ever raising their voice. This isn't just theory, it's happening around you right now. So if you want to protect yourself and your mind, let's dive in. When you hear the word predator, you might imagine a villain lurking in the shadows, a cruel manipulator, a master of deception. But psychological predators don't always look dangerous. Sometimes they're the friend who listens so intently, the colleague who seems endlessly curious, the partner who knows you better than you know yourself. Because psychological predation isn't always about obvious malice, it's often about control. And it can be wrapped in charm, empathy, and even helpfulness. At the core of a psychological predator's mindset is a single potent mix: curiosity fused with self-interest. They're deeply curious about what makes you tick, your desires, your insecurities, your boundaries. But that curiosity isn't innocent. It's driven by the question, how can I use what I know about you for me? It might be as subtle as nudging your decisions, or as extreme as trapping you in cycles of guilt, fear, or dependence. Because predators don't just want your secrets. Predators don't just want your secrets, they want control over how you feel. They want the emotional levers that let them push you closer or hold you at a distance, to make you trust them or fear losing them. And here's the unsettling truth. There's one habit that's like a gateway drug into this entire world of psychological manipulation. A habit so seemingly harmless. Most people do it daily without realizing the power they're handing over. In the next section, we'll expose what that habit is and how it becomes the weapon of choice for those who wish to prey on your mind. So what's the one habit that turns ordinary people into psychological predators? Radical observation. This isn't casual people watching. It's an intense, laser-focused study of every subtle detail about you, whether you realize it or not. Psychological predators are masters at silently gathering information. They notice things most people overlook. The slight flicker of discomfort in your eyes, a nervous laugh when you're trying to hide embarrassment, the way your shoulders tense when certain topics come up, changes in your voice when you're excited or afraid. They're tracking your body language, reading your micro-expressions, analyzing your speech patterns, and cataloging your emotional triggers. They're mapping your mind before you even know it. Because every reaction you reveal, no matter how small, is a piece of data. And this habit connects directly to a core Machiavellian principle. Knowledge is power. The predator knows that if they can understand how you think and feel, they can shape the way you behave. Imagine this. A predator notices you have a nervous laugh when you're pressured. Later, in a heated discussion, they purposely push your boundaries. As you start laughing nervously, they know they've hit a sensitive spot, and they press even harder, steering the outcome in their favor. Or maybe they discover your eyes light up whenever you talk about a specific dream. Suddenly, they're using that dream as bait to win your trust, your loyalty, even your secrets. Radical observation gives predators the blueprint to your emotional architecture, and with that blueprint, they can dismantle your defenses one brick at a time. In the next section, we'll dig deeper into why radical observation works so well and why so many people fall for its invisible trap. Why does this habit, radical observation, work so disturbingly well? Because your brain is wired to love it. Humans are biologically programmed to crave connection, to feel seen, to feel understood. When someone reflects your emotional patterns back at you, your expressions, your beliefs, even your insecurities, it triggers a strange but powerful response in your brain. This person gets me. And once you believe someone understands you, your guard drops. Fast. This is the predator's emotional leverage. They use your need to be understood as their key to access your trust. The science? It starts with mirror neurons, specialized brain cells that fire when you observe someone else's behavior, making you feel what they feel. It's the foundation of empathy, and also the gateway to manipulation. Add in social mimicry, where people unconsciously copy posture, tone, and language, and suddenly, the predator becomes your emotional mirror. You laugh, they laugh. You relax, they relax. You open up, so do they, strategically, to deepen the illusion. All of this creates the feeling of connection, but it's manufactured, controlled. Because in reality, the predator isn't revealing themselves. They're studying you, adapting to you, bending to fit what your brain most craves: recognition. If I know how you work, I can control how you feel. And once they have that power, they can weaponize it against your will, against your better judgment, because you're no longer interacting with a person. You're interacting with a mirror crafted to pull you in, reflect you perfectly, and keep you emotionally exposed. That's why radical observation is so dangerous. It doesn't force you to trust, it makes you want to. In the next section, we'll expose how predators test the system for weaknesses and for access. Here's the chilling truth about radical observation. On its own, it's neutral, a tool. But in the hands of a predator, it becomes a silent weapon. Because predators don't just watch, they escalate. They move from simply observing to testing your boundaries, to subtly influencing your behavior. It's a slippery slope you barely notice. First, they mirror you. Maybe it's small, matching how you sit, echoing your choice of words, laughing when you laugh. You feel a connection, even though you can't quite explain why. Next, they start probing, casually dropping personal questions that seem harmless. So, do you ever feel misunderstood by people close to you? Or, you strike me as someone who doesn't like conflict, right? Each question is a fishing line, cast into your psyche, searching for soft spots. Then comes the test. A predator might tease you lightly with a joke that cuts just close enough to a potential insecurity. Careful, you might overthink this like you always do. If you laugh it off or become embarrassed, they know they've hit a nerve. Now they know exactly where to press next time. Because here's the secret: predators don't guess, they test. They collect data about what makes you anxious, what makes you glow, and what makes you doubt yourself. Bit by bit, they start nudging your emotions, shaping how you see them and how you see yourself. And the scariest part, most people don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. Because while you're feeling seen, they're setting the stage to influence your choices, your trust, even your reality. In the next section, we'll reveal the warning signs that someone is using radical observation against you before you fall into their trap. Here's something most people never see coming. Psychological predators aren't always born villains. They often start out as completely ordinary people. Just like you and me, they might be driven by fear, insecurity, heartbreak, ambition, or sheer curiosity. Someone who's been betrayed might think, "I'll never let anyone hurt me again." I'll learn how people work so I'm always a step ahead. At first, radical observation feels like self-defense, a way to stay safe, to read the room, to anticipate danger. But there's a razor-thin line between protecting yourself and controlling others. Because once they discover how powerful radical observation is, how easy it is to decode people's emotions and vulnerabilities, something changes. They get a rush, an intoxicating sense of, I'm smarter than everyone else. I'm untouchable. People are puppets. I just have to pull the right strings. And that's the moment the observer becomes a predator. Here's the chilling part. The same skill that makes great leaders can make great manipulators. Charismatic CEOs, brilliant salespeople, politicians, even therapists. Many use radical observation to inspire, persuade, and lead. But in the wrong hands, it becomes a weapon. Take this example. Someone who grew up feeling invisible learns to read people deeply so they'll finally be seen and valued. At first, it's harmless. But soon they discover they can use that insight to steer conversations, extract secrets, and bend people's emotions to their will. What started as a survival tool becomes a game fueled by Machiavellian philosophy. It's better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Radical observation gives them the power to decide which path to take, and often they choose fear cloaked in charm. In the next section, we'll reveal how to spot these predators before they choose you as their target. So how do you know when someone has crossed the line from harmlessly observant to dangerously predatory? Look for these subtle but chilling red flags. They become too perceptive way too quickly. They notice your nervous tics, emotional triggers, even your secret insecurities, all without you saying much. They hyper-focus on how you react emotionally. If your eyes widen, if your voice trembles, if you look uncomfortable, they zero in on it like a laser. They subtly push your boundaries. A personal question here, a teasing joke there, all to see how far they can go and how much you'll tolerate. Conversations start to feel like interrogations. You leave chats feeling strangely drained, like you've revealed too much, yet learned almost nothing about them. Here's the emotional reality. If you feel exposed but strangely flattered, that's a sign. Predators are masters at making you feel seen. It's intoxicating, like you finally met someone who understands you deeply. But that's the trap, because the moment you let your guard down, they start collecting the data they'll use to manipulate you later. Let's bring this closer to home. In romantic relationships, a new partner showers you with attention, memorizes every detail you share, and uses it to keep you hooked. In work settings, a colleague seems genuinely interested in your life, then uses your personal struggles as office gossip ammunition or political leverage. In friendships, a friend listens so well, but somehow twists your secrets into weapons during conflicts. Here's the chilling truth. Psychological predators look like friends, lovers, mentors, but beneath the warmth, they're calculating. Coming up next, we'll expose how you can protect yourself without becoming paranoid or cold. Here's a question that might sting a little. Do you analyze people to feel safer or to feel superior? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The same habit that lets you read a room, protect yourself, and build trust can quietly turn into a weapon if you're not careful. Let's draw the line. Healthy observation is about connection. You notice small things because you care. You listen deeply because you want to understand. It builds closeness and mutual respect. Toxic observation is about control. You're collecting data not to bond, but to predict, influence, or gain an upper hand. That's how psychological predation begins. Here's the emotional reality. Power feels good, but if it comes at someone else's expense, it's the first step toward predation. Take a moment. Be honest with yourself. Let's do a quick mental check. Do you keep mental lists of people's weaknesses, just in case you ever need them? Have you ever tested someone emotionally just to see how they'd react under pressure? Do you find satisfaction in knowing you can influence someone's feelings or choices, even if you don't act on it? Do you sometimes mirror people not for connection but to make them trust you faster? If any of those made you pause, it doesn't mean you're evil. It means you're human and flirting with a dangerous edge. Because the scariest predators aren't monsters hiding in the shadows. They're everyday people who discover how intoxicating it feels to steer others' emotions. Coming up, let's talk about how you can protect yourself and use your power without crossing the line. Not all predators wear masks of cruelty. Some wear charm, empathy, and attentiveness. That's what makes them dangerous. So how do you protect yourself? Start with this rule. Never confuse kindness with harmlessness. Even the most harmless people can be masters of psychological manipulation if you're not paying attention. Here are your practical defenses. Maintain boundaries, even with those who seem incredibly nice. If someone pushes too fast for emotional closeness, pause. Real trust takes time. Watch for excessive mirroring or overly personal questions. If it feels like someone's reflecting you a little too perfectly, they may be studying, not bonding. Delay emotional disclosures. The more you reveal, the more ammunition you provide. Share gradually and intentionally, not impulsively. And here's the deeper level of protection. Jung believed that the best defense is inner awareness. It's called shadow work. The process of uncovering the parts of yourself you've hidden, rejected, or never acknowledged. Because here's the truth. What you don't know about yourself, others can weaponize. If you're unaware of your insecurities, your need for approval, your fear of abandonment, someone else can use them to pull your strings. But when you bring your shadows into the light, they lose their grip. That's why the ultimate defense isn't armor. It's self-knowledge. And if something feels off, even if the person seems perfect, trust it. Discomfort is a signal. Respect it before you regret it. Because in a world full of observers, your power lies in seeing yourself before anyone else does. So here's the truth. Radical observation is powerful, but power cuts both ways. It can elevate leaders, deepen relationships, and unlock human insight. But in the wrong hands, it becomes a silent weapon, a way to slip into your mind, twist your emotions, and bend your reality. Remember this. Know the habit. Recognize the signs. Protect your mind. Because the predators you fear might not wear dark cloaks or sneer like villains. Sometimes they smile, they listen, they understand. And that's exactly how they get in. If you've ever felt played, if someone once read you so well it felt like they were inside your skin, drop your story below. Let's expose the game together. And if you found this eye-opening, hit subscribe, because we're diving even deeper into the hidden forces shaping your mind and how to defend it. In the words of Machiavelli, men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see but few can feel. So stay sharp, stay conscious, and never forget. Until next time, observe wisely and guard your inner world.